Thank you for tuning into Gummi Ship Radio, the podcast where two childhood girlfriends synthesize their brains to comprehensively figure out what exactly is Kingdom Hearts. As a gentle reminder, this podcast sporadically contains spoilers throughout all of the Kingdom Hearts installments. We strongly recommend listening in order to so proceed at your own caution. I am one half of that brain, Brittany.
And I'm the other half of that brain, Victoria. And today I will be starting our episode on Awakening, going into Destiny Islands. And that will be where Brittany will play us out with Traverse Town.
Yay.
All right, we're feeling good today. We ready to jump into the Gummi Ship?
Let's jump in.
Let's jump into the Gummi Ship. So we're starting with Awakening, which for game purposes, that is the tutorial. That is how we learn how to navigate in the world and stuff. But with this tutorial, there is a little bit of a story sense.
Yes.
Like, it's not frivolous. It is not meaningless. Like, it's almost like a plane of existence that Sora encounters. He hears a voice, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it. At the start of this game, we're dropped literally into a mysterious realm that foresees doom and gloom. This premonition turns Sora's world upside down and out of here. So let's jump into it a little beat by beat. So laid over the opening title, Sora thinks to himself, I've been having these weird thoughts lately. Like, is any of this for real or not? Over Utada Hikaru's magnum opus of simple and clean Planet B remix, specifically the Planet B remix, Sora has a series of bizarre visions and events of him reaching out to his unreachable friend Riku, as well as falling for, but ultimately losing, his other friend Kairi. A very fitting premonition indeed. So, before we go any further, Brittany, can we just absolutely gush on what that intro meant to both of our lives individually and collectively?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing. Besides the banger of the song that just immediately drew me in and took over my life and my LimeWire downloads for sure.
This song poisoned my family computer.
Definitely got some viruses we're trying to download this song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the graphics and just the way it tells you the beginning of the story and pulls you in to, like, this world you have no idea that you're jumping into, but also you're like, it's so cinematic. And again, the song, like, just makes the whole entire thing. Like,
So what the intro meant for me, it was in the midst of a time where, like, a lot of video games had this, like, very cinematic anime, either cutscenes, intro, credit scenes, whatever it may be. Like, I was really big on playing Tekken. Tekken would always have, like, a movie at the end of, you know, you fighting the entire round of a certain player, or even the intro of it. But, like, this one hit in a way that I had not experienced before. And I think the whole, like the metaphor of Sora reaching out to Riku, never being able to grab him, Sora, like, falling and losing Kairi. I mean, it's just so foreshadowing of what's to come. I don't know if it was just, like, puberty. Like, I was just going through it as a 12-year-old. Like, it just felt like, it just felt so cool.
It was.
It felt so cool. And just also worth noting, like, whenever we wanted to hear it again, we just have to just keep resetting the PlayStation. Just
restart, yeah.
We didn't have YouTube.
NVD.
Oh my God. The way that I destroyed that PlayStation by just hitting reset, like, over and over and over again. But great intro, 10 out of 10.
For sure.
Wouldn't change a thing now that we've gushed on that intro. He's dropped in Awakening. It's a series of stained glass platforms that, within being a play tutorial, like we mentioned, for the player and for Sora, it lets us learn a little bit about ourselves. So much to do, so little time. Take your time. Don't be afraid, the door is still shut. We're then asked to choose one of 3 weapons, a sword, a shield, and a staff, as well as which of the 3 to sacrifice. Brittany, so we know that you favor the sword. Can you explain why?
I think it's the Aries in me that I just, you know, I feel like it's like a strength thing / badass sword. Like, I don't know, why wouldn't you choose it?
Yes,
That's
totally.
What I just, like, feel in my heart. Like,
and that's how you felt as a kid into now.
Yeah, like, why wouldn't I choose a sword?
Totally.
Like, that's BA. Like,
totally.
I don't know.
I just realized too, just in case for some reason you guys have found us, not through social media or anything, we made a post that we say like what we preferred in this part of the game. If you'd like to take a look at what we chose, it's on our Instagram. Now for me, I chose the shield because I was always just like a little doormat and just wanted to protect everyone around me. I've tried to pick something else, and then there's that prompt that's like, are you sure this is the path you want to? Every time I was like, no, I'll pick the shield. But I'm happy to be the guardian. And one of my oldest friends here is the warrior. So yes, we're good. We both denied magic.
Sorry.
Fun fact, we both denied magic, which
mistake.
I'm sure is a huge mistake, but will I ever know? No, I'm always going to pick the shield, and I'm obviously not going to deny strength. So what are we going to do? Anyway, after we learned some more gameplay, we walked through a pre-door, I guess, like it's a version of a door, to be transported and presented with 3 questions, each with 3 wildly different answers. So we're asked by Selfie, what is most important to you? With the choice of being number 1, friendship and my prized possessions. Waka asks, what do you want out of life? With the choices of to see rare sights, to broaden my horizons, and to be strong. And then Titus asks, what are you so afraid of? With the choices of getting old, being indifferent, and being indecisive. Depending on what you choose, the journey will begin one of 3 ways: at dawn, at midday, and at dusk, all to do with how you level up throughout the game. Again, based off our post, we shared what we have chosen. But let's talk about really quick just like how deep those questions are.
Very deep.
What did you think about those questions as a 12-year-old?
As a 12-year-old, I really didn't think into them whatsoever. I was just like, okay, let me just
get through it.
Whatever. Yeah. Like, yeah, sure. Answer these questions. As an adult, I feel like I'm like, holy shit. Like, yeah. What do you mean? Yeah. What is my greatest fear? Of course. Like, or what are you so afraid of?
There's like a mirror right next to me, and I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my God. I don't know. Like, so I feel like I got more out of it being an adult and re-seeing the questions and how deep they actually
definitely
were.
Now for me, with these questions, I've always been interested in big questions. A lot of it has to do with my dad. My dad has always been a very philosophical person, and so he'd always encourage asking big questions. So this just sort of felt like that fell in line with that, where I was like, oh, this is so cool to like think about what do I want out of life, like what's important and stuff like that. And to this day, like, playing it, I'm like, I love this aspect of the game. And of course, we don't know that this is Selfie, Titus, and Waka, but like, again, for the familiar gamer, we're aware of who they are.
Right.
But a nice little pre-introduction to them. Okay, so once the journey is decided, we learn how to save our progress just in time for a big old boss fight with a dark side as a way to end this tutorial, but also to have sort of recognize like what is at stake, like what is it that he's potentially going to be up against as he takes forgot I wrote Mr. Darkside. As Mr. Darkside takes form, we're met with the most iconic hyperbole. The closer you get to the light, the greater your shadow becomes. And like, I really wrote that everywhere. Anywhere that had canvas space, like if I had a marker, if I had my nail, if anything, I was etching that into that drawing anywhere I could. So they say the closer you get to the light, the greater your shadow becomes, because Darkside is Sora's shadow. So right before we engage in battle, the text on the screen says, don't be afraid and don't forget, but then boom, we're fighting. It's a very easy fight, and eventually Darkside's defeated. But even at defeat, Darkside smashes his hands into the platform floor and melts it into a black void, pulling you further and further down. Sora looks distressed and scared, and we're met once more with a text saying, but don't be afraid, you hold the mightiest weapon of all moving and shaking in chaos. Another text, so don't forget. Sora's being swallowed by the darkness, and it is not looking good. Until one last text says, this time static and clear, no longer in chaos. You are the one who will open the door. All right. I mean, what a way to end a tutorial. Again, that was another thing I hadn't experienced at that point in my life as a kid, of just like going through like a play tutorial that served the story like that. I was really scared for Sora. I was really scared, but I love that line so much. What did you think about that way to kick off an intro?
I definitely thought the game was going to be super hard starting off. Like then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have an HP bar or anything like that for this guy. How do I know when I'm done? And also, that boss was very intimidating.
Yes.
Like
He's huge.
He's huge. Yeah. So I felt like that was also something that I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be intense. This was intense. And yeah, the moving words, man.
I love
so
how
deep.
interactive the text on the screen was to the scaredness of it all. That it could have just been words, or we could have just heard it, but to see the text is pretty
and
cool.
The like foreboding music and like how scary and like churchy, I don't know, it sounds.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it.
Like, it's just like very like eerie.
Yeah.
So that definitely played into it. And then I didn't know who was talking to us.
Well, we will get into that near the end of this episode, but definitely something to keep in mind that we too are curious about who be talking.
Who's the voice?
Who is talking like that. But that's Awakening. And that leads us into our very first true world, Destiny Islands. And so with Destiny Islands, to give a quick overview, straight out of that intro, we find 3 friends who set out to explore other worlds on a raft, but fate has different plans for them all. Sora wakes up on the beach of his hometown Destiny Islands, where Kairi giggles over him, calling him a lazy bum. He explains his dream, still unsure if it was even a dream. They talk, they catch up, like chit-chatting. Out of nowhere, in my opinion, I kind of wish there was a more organic way that this got brought up. But out of nowhere, Sora asks Kairi about where she grew up, and she reminds him that she doesn't remember. Gotta remember that, Sora. I've told you this so many times. I don't know where I grew up. This sparks a common interest between the two of them that they'd want to travel, visit where she's from as well as what else is out there. How do we feel about that exposition? About that?
It's definitely weird.
Yes. But I do wish that there was a better way that Sora could have just asked.
Kairi's amnesia starts pretty early.
It also kind of just felt like, hey, Kairi, where did you grow up? It's like we were just talking about how you were asleep on the beach.
Yeah.
And you're a little lazy bum.
Very strange.
Very strange. But anyway, prompting the call to adventure, Riku approaches and he gives the both of them shit for napping while he works in their raft for this exploration. And the 3 of them race across the beach and we're met with the title of the story, once again, Kingdom Hearts. Who are our voiceover actors who play Sora? One and only.
Yeah.
Haley Joel Osment. Hayden Panettiere is our Kairi, which I really didn't know that was her when we were kids.
Yeah.
Like, she sounds so different. And it also just shows how long she's been around for. It was like, Remember the Titans, I feel like was the first thing I ever saw her in.
That's true, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. And then David Gallagher, if anyone is a huge fan of Seventh Heaven?
I was going to say
Seventh Heaven. I think it's Seventh Heaven. David Gallagher is our Riku. Kairi tasks Sora to gather the rest of the supplies for their raft so they can get going. While we explore Destiny Islands to find these materials, we also have the opportunity to speak and spar with other people, such as Riku, Selphie, Waka, and Titus, our 3 little inquisitive folk from the intro. Yes. So my quick thing to add in here was after playing this time around, I made sure I talked to them a lot. I sparred with them a couple times, but I made sure I talked to them a lot just to really get a full scope of it. And I learned that, because Destiny Island takes place in 2 days, there's day 1 and then there's day 2. Mm-hmm. They're really there to let everyone know that Riku's the one taking care of Sora all the time. So you'd go up to them and they'd be like, don't worry, Riku will figure it out like he always does.
I did not know that. BTW. Had no clue.
They're just constantly just making it clear that Riku is the older brother to Sora. After fetching the supplies to Kairi, they call it a day and watch the sunset together. Riku is itching to explore and wants to see what else is out there. Because if it wasn't for Kairi, he wouldn't have even thought about exploring anywhere else, and he's grateful to her for it. Before they leave, Riku tosses Sora a Paopu fruit, because legends say that when 2 people share it, their destinies become intertwined, hinting at sharing one with Kairi, because he's like, go on, go share it with her. And like a little boy, Sora tosses it into the water and insists that Riku doesn't know what he is talking about. That Paopu fruit, man. That shit comes up all the time.
Yeah, Riku also here gave me the ick. I feel like he always was taunting Sora with Kairi, but in the end it was Riku who had the crush on Kairi. Mm-hmm. And it's when you have a crush on somebody and you push somebody else toward them because you're
it's a way to kind of admit to the crush without doing anything about it.
Also, I feel he knows they kind of like each other, and he was a little jelly.
I didn't realize that.
And was kind of go ahead, you want to kind of thing, but in deep down, he, I feel wants to.
I never thought about that before.
But I was always ew, why is Riku being a little shady?
I thought he was just being a jerk. like just being like an older brother jerk, but like I never thought about the weight behind why he was doing that.
I don't know. That's what I always felt.
Interesting.
Like, and even now, I was like, why is he doing that? Like, that's mean.
Like you're being mean.
Yeah, stop it.
Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, older brother, I get that.
Yeah. Whatever. He's not sharing it with her.
Right.
Elsewhere, we see at Disney Castle, the sorcerer, Donald Duck, is greeting his King Mickey, only to find his throne is empty, and his dog Pluto is holding a letter with his seal. Donald reads the letter and absolutely fucking loses his shit. Panicking, he seeks out the knight, Goofy, and tells him he has to tell him something that's top secret that not even the queen can know, not even my wife Daisy can know. And lo and behold, the both of them are fucking standing right behind him in a classic, cartoon like, what did we get ourselves into?
Finally seeing them was kind of like a, oh my gosh, kind of
totally like me. Going from the trailer into the game.
Yeah.
It's like, finally they're here.
Being like, seeing them was kind of like, wow, we really are playing in like Disney World. And then they're playing like the little Mickey Mouse theme song like in the background, which is super cute. So Classic. I was just like, oh.
Yeah, it felt like a really nice way to get that satisfaction.
Don't hide shit from your wives. Rule number one.
Number one. Don't do that. Just very classic. It's the next day, back on Destiny Islands, and we enter the other side of the island where Kyrie's blocking it the day before. We find Riku on the other side, and he proposes a race. Now, kind of going back into like your little life. Riku is being like a little jerk, poking fun, or just, trying to get something out of Sora. Mm-hmm. But he proposes a race across the island. Whoever wins gets to name the raft. But then, at the last moment, Riku changes the stakes and says, actually, whoever wins gets to share the Paopu fruit with Kyrie. Which is so funny that you're saying this now because, like, totally makes sense. Like that would even be something that he would suggest.
Right. I feel like he also totally threw that in because he knew he was kind of going to, like, win, possibly. Mm-hmm. And that was just kind of like a chance to just, like, low-key throw that in there.
Yeah. It's so funny because if you win, Riku's like, who cares? I was just kidding. But if you lose, Riku, like, gloats in his face about it. So, like, basically nothing matters. Do you remember what you picked the name to be?
I picked whatever. It was already Highwind.
It was Highwind. Yeah.
Whatever. That was fine with me.
Yeah.
That's good with me. Yes. That's
good
always,
with you.
I never wanted to, like, pick a name. I was just kind of like, all right, yeah, that's good.
So my brother and I would always pick like something like dumb, like it'd always be like Riku sucks or something. And so there's a point like you put it in and then Sora's like, what about? And then says the name. So we just wanted to get him to say Riku sucks, which I guess I also never really liked Riku. I wanted to say he sucked. But also one quick fun fact about the naming of this raft that I didn't know about until this playthrough. I always thought that it was so funny that they would have you choose a name and it ended up meaning absolutely nothing. That's not true. That becomes the name of your first blueprint for fucking Gummi Ship.
Wild.
I didn't know that. Did you know that?
Had no clue.
Had no idea because that was literally going to be my input for this episode was to be like, isn't it so funny that we had like this notion of choice when actually like it becomes something later on. I named the raft this time around GS Radio, obviously, for fun. And then I was like, scrolling through the Gummi Garage and I was like, wait a minute, there's the name.
That's
so
crazy.
Again, how would I know that as a kid? Anyway. Kyrie then tasks you with the last of what they'll need for the trip, the provisions. This part of the island invites us to find more creative ways of getting things. So much so that once you find yourself having everything except one more mushroom in a blink and you'll miss it area, there's a tiny cave marked secret place. Right where your missing mushroom conveniently is. You go to the back and there's all these drawings in the back. There's a really cute little one of Sora and Kyrie. And he remembers when they made that drawing together as little kids. And sweet music plays in the background. I believe it's called Treasured Memories. But unfortunately, this really nice reminiscing moment gets rudely interrupted by some paper bag with chains, who I guess the game calls Hooded Figure. He cryptically talks to Sora about the darkness and that it's been connected to this island, to this world.
Creepy.
And what's to come of it? Sora doesn't understand, and the figure knows it, telling him he has much to learn. With one look at the door and back, Hooded Figure is gone. Sora's like, all right, fine, moving on, bringing the mushroom over to Kyrie, and as he brings it over to her, she's, what? What?
Just all right, moving on.
All right. He's
that was weird.
That was weird. Some guy just showed up in my island, in my secret
just showed
place.
up.
And what was crazy, like that door, like just this whole ass door just being in this cave.
Yes.
Which I think we will definitely get into it in a later episode, but we do see that door in this place when Sora is a kid. So that door has been there for a very long time.
I think he also draws the Paopu.
Oh,
fruit.
Good distinction.
With him.
Thanks for
the cave with him and Kyrie.
So there's the shot of the two of them as little kids facing each other. That's what they draw when they're kids. But you're totally right.
He draws the Paopu fruit. Being
like, right before he gets interrupted.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Being like, ha, Riku.
Yeah.
I will share the fruit with her.
Someday. He's manifesting. He's manifesting that he's gonna share it with her one day.
Low key putting that in there.
Thank you so much for putting that in. I almost completely forgot to write that in. So Paper Bag interrupts his drawing sesh and he moves on. Once we get back to Kyrie to give her the last of what she's asking us to look for, she's crafting something. She's crafting a Thalassa shell necklace to ensure a safe voyage, as the legends would say. There's so many legends in this universe. And she hopes that this charm will help them find each other if they ever were to get lost. And if that isn't foreshadowing, I don't know what is. But call it a day, because they'll need all the rest that they can get, because tomorrow they set sail. And so it's sunset now. It's just Kyrie and Sora. They're talking about how excited they are for tomorrow. But then Kyrie makes a little joke. But could it not be a joke that she was really intending? She says, why don't we just take the raft, just the two of us? Let's ditch that gray-haired bozo.
Let's ditch.
And Sora's like, what are you talking about? She's like, I'm just kidding. Don't worry. Once we set sail tomorrow, it'll be great. And that's the end of that day. Do we want to talk about that paper bagger chains?
I mean, yes. And also just Kyrie killed me right there. Wanting to dip on Riku because she says he's changed, right?
Yes. Kyrie reflects on how Riku's changed and jokes that they should take the raft themselves. That's exactly what it was. That's what it was.
He's changed.
So Kyrie makes note of how much Riku's changed and jokes because of that they should take that raft.
Because he likes her.
He likes her. And she's like, ew, that's weird. Don't like me. I like someone else. And Sora is really miffed on how much Kyrie's changed just by how she's talking. It feels like that conversation or that little discussion between the two of them is just about how different things have become and how they're going to become even more different come tomorrow. But with that, she asks Sora to never change. She never wants anything to happen that would separate them. So again, just more foreshadowing.
Yeah, more foreshadowing.
But that paper bag, that hooded figure, again, we talked about this on our own, but really, I don't think that Tetsuya and the Square Enix gang crew really knew how expanded this series was going to get, because that clearly is supposed to be an Organization 13 garb. Lo and behold, elsewhere, we're back at the castle, and we see King Mickey's letter to Donald, and he writes, Donald, sorry to rush off without saying goodbye, but there's big trouble brewing. Not sure why, but the stars have been going out one by one, and that means disaster can't be far behind. I hate to leave you all, but I've got to go check into it. There's someone with a key, the key to our survival. So I need you and Goofy to go find him and stick with him. Got it? We need that key or we're doomed. Go to Traverse Town and find Leon. He'll point you in the right direction. P.S. Would you apologize to Minnie for me? Thanks, pal. Let's just take a quick second.
Just put it all on Donald. You take care of this.
Take care of this.
I gotta go.
Oh my god. Yeah, really. To just shove it on another person.
And also, how does he know about Sora?
Yeah. Yeah.
How does Mickey know?
How does he know that's Sora? I don't know.
He knows everything, that Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, that Mickey Mouse. He is in with a very specific crowd that has the answers to a lot of these things. So I'm sure that in perhaps a specific sequel to a game, we may know how he knows all this stuff. But for now, how the heck does this King Mickey know to look for someone with a key?
Yes.
Donald and Goofy promise Queen Minnie and Daisy that they will find the king and his key. Minnie has Jiminy Cricket accompany them to chronicle their travels. Jiminy would like to join the mission because his world disappeared as a result of what's going on, and he's the only one from this world who made it to the castle. Donald reminds Goofy that in order to protect the world order, they can't let other people know what world they're from. And so from there, they board the Gummi Ship and travel to this Traverse Town. Now, you have insight about why they mentioned this whole world order thing.
Yes, I heard, or I read through the grapevine of Reddit, Kingdom Hearts Reddit, that it was Disney's ways of not intertwining different movies and getting it like too messy of like other characters from Disney meeting other characters from other worlds and things like that, which is kind of what they're saying.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah. So it'd be like not having Aladdin show up in Alice in Wonderland.
Right. Exactly.
Things like that.
And like kind of like creating other like I guess storylines or plot lines for Disney to kind of like deal with.
That's true.
In the end. So they like allowing Donald, Goofy as their
separate they're their own separate proprietary entity that they're allowed to jump in. But that kind of makes sense though from like a legal standpoint, even though this is like their game,
right? But
whatever
we know Disney don't like to get
messy at all. Also, I didn't remember Pluto jumping in and being a part of this at all until this go. And then Pluto. Obviously what we learned throughout or by the end of the game for sure. Okay, the night before they set sail, and before dozing off to sleep, Sora is alarmed by the sound of thunder and sees a storm looming over Destiny Islands. Afraid that the raft will get destroyed, Sora heads out to the island and missing his dinner. Poor thing. When he arrives, he sees that this isn't just any regular storm, because there's a swirling void of darkness hovering over the island and causing all this destruction. But what's worse, Riku and Kairi's boats are there, meaning that he's the last of them to arrive. All of a sudden, these creatures from his dream, or was it a dream, appear from the ground, and with his wooden toy sword in hand, does his best to fight them off, and it proves to no avail. One quick little tidbit, I really thought I was supposed to fight them with this toy sword. Again, 12-year-old idiot. I don't know, like, don't let me rule the world at 12 years old, because I was really, like, so pissed off that, like, nothing was happening. Took me forever to realize that Riku is standing at his little favorite spot in the island and is essentially asking the player to get their asses over there. But something's off. Something's come over him. Mad weird vibes. But maybe something that was there all along. He speaks of the door opening, that now is their chance to step through and see other worlds. But most of all, he's not afraid of the darkness. And he reaches out his hand to Sora, just like his dream. And Sora tries to take it. But right before he does, there's this swirling blackness that's just like underneath his feet and then underneath Sora's feet. And he's trying to grab onto him. But instead, Riku disappears. And in Sora's hand is a key. A kingdom key. A keyblade, if you will. And you see these words plastered all over the screen that says keyblade, keyblade, keyblade. Letting it very well be known that we are hanging onto a keyblade. And then we fight these little shadows, and then we're kicking their asses. And I was very happy about that. However, Sora's fighting them off with his kingdom key, and then if you look over, there's this now ornate door that sits over where the secret place was in the cave. So he runs in, and we find Kairi at the very end of the cave. She's almost like sickly and ghostly. And she like breathily says, she turns, she looks at him, and she goes, Sora. And a big burst of wind bursts through that door that's been in the back of that cave this whole time and rushes Kairi through the cave, but then through Sora and blasts Sora all the way out of this door. So they try to grab each other, they can't. And when Sora finds himself in the beaches of Destiny Island, which is like thoroughly destroyed now, Darkseid returns. But he's got the kingdom key now. Fights him off, but it doesn't matter because this world gets completely swallowed up by the darkness. Sora gets pulled through it to who knows where. And that is Destiny Islands. Now let's talk about who we think that voice is. Now that we've seen that voice come up one more time with the Keyblade part. We have both seen two answers that keep floating around. I do feel like it could be either one. I swear to God, like we've tried looking this up so that we had
no right answer.
Yeah, we've tried to find the right answer so we don't sound like we don't know what we're talking about. These two answers keep floating up. It is either
Yes.
Or it is.
I would like to know.
I would like to know too.
Let us
And
know
you know
what
what?
you think.
Yeah, let us know if we're not finding the right resource that says who it actually is.
Yeah.
But we will be keeping track of that for sure. Brittany, you're about to lead us through Traverse Town. Before we do, did we miss anything
I don't think
to discuss?
so.
Like anything?
No, I don't think so.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to Traverse Town. Iconic world. Sora arrives in Traverse Town after his world is destroyed, where he meets Donald, Goofy, and other allies. He learns about the Heartless and begins his journey to find his friends.
He does.
So now that we got swallowed up by the darkness, we've ended up in Traverse Town. Traverse Town is a major hub and is a sanctuary world for characters that have lost their home to the Heartless. I believe Leon tells us that in some part of this game. So yeah, that's kind of good to know. Donald and Goofy are looking for Leon and see a star go out in the sky, kind of like Mickey was talking about.
I wonder which star that was.
Wonder which world that was. While Pluto wanders off, the only one realizing something important is near. Pluto is
Smarty Pants.
He's also the Almighty.
He's the dog of the Almighty.
That's
so
true.
yeah.
Sora awakens in Traverse Town after being separated from Riku and Kairi. He's confused and alone, but determined to find his friends. Sora starts to explore this unfamiliar place with its cozy shops and familiar residents. We see the Moogle, or I call it Moogie.
Yeah, the Moogie.
The Moogie shop.
Yeah.
The cafe lady.
Yeah.
Who's also there. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. So we get to see some familiar
faces. Yes.
For sure. Also note the song because it'll be a staple during this game and you will hear it in your sleep. Hopefully we're not too confused yet. We saw some
definitely
Disney
hyped about who we've seen so far.
Yeah.
Also just love the Traverse Town song.
Yeah.
Like I'm already getting sleepy, girl. I'm already getting cozy, girl. Oh, I love. Anyway.
Very familiar with that one.
Oh yeah.
If you are like me and like to explore everything before moving on, you'll enter the shop and find Sid. Sid is one of the first key allies and Final Fantasy characters we meet. And after insulting him and calling him Gramps, he promises to look out for us and tells us to move on to District 2, basically. As Sora ventures into the second district, he is ambushed by the Heartless, and we actually get to see, I think this is the first time we ever see that.
Definitely, the one and only time we see
the transition of someone turning into a Heartless, which, yeah, I didn't realize it. So playing it over again, that was the first time that I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah. Like, we're watching it happen in real time. Yeah.
That was really interesting.
Yeah.
We also come across some locations we will be familiar with and return to often, such as the hotel, the Dalmatian house, and the bell tower. Apparently, the rooms in the hotel are named after Final Fantasy characters.
That I didn't know until you wrote in the script. I had no idea.
I had no idea about that either. After some exploring and fighting the Heartless, we come to an iconic moment for Sora. For some who played the game of Final Fantasy, I guess a little more iconic for them. Leon, also known as Squall or Squall Leon Hart from Final Fantasy. Apparently, he's called Squall in Final Fantasy. That's what he's known as. But they changed his name to Leon in order to make him
like a surprise.
Yeah, like a surprise, because in the letter he mentions Leon, and they didn't want people to know that Squall was going to make an appearance during the game. So that was just a little
that's cute
tidbit there.
That's cute.
Leon challenges Sora to a battle, testing his combat skills, which I think is one of the harder
yeah, that one also discouraged me as a kid. I was like, how am I going to fight this grown man?
This guy?
Yeah, like, what are you talking
with
about?
With this giant sword or whatever he has.
Yeah, the sword gun. Yeah. Like, what?
Whether you win or lose, Sora collapses and you wake up in a hotel room where you meet some more important characters.
Oh, yeah.
We are formally introduced to Leon, Yuffie the Ninja, who is a princess, also from Final Fantasy, voiced by Christy Carlson Romano.
Who, yeah, Disney
also
Channel iconic Disney royalty.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
For sure. And at the same time, we also see Aerith of Final Fantasy as well, voiced by Mandy Moore, another icon, meeting with Donald and Goofy. So, yeah, Final Fantasy crossover. I wasn't one to be like, OMG.
Yeah.
But I also was like, okay, that's cool.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yes.
Like, very interesting.
Yes.
So if you played Final Fantasy, I bet that was like a, oh my gosh.
A huge moment.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Agreed.
We start learning a little bit about the Heartless and what they are after. Leon explains that the threat of the Heartless and the importance of the Keyblade, and we start to realize that Sora is special.
Oh, yeah.
He definitely has some power or something going on there. After being ambushed by the Heartless at the hotel, we make our way to District 3 for one of the most important cutscenes, where we are literally hit with Donald and Goofy. And we finally team up to beat the boss of this level, the guard armor.
Yes.
After defeating the boss, Donald and Goofy realize that Sora has the key they have been looking for, not realizing the crazy journey they're about to
not even close
go on. And we have the iconic all for one for all.
I could actually cry a little bit because it's so cute.
Because it is super cute. Yeah. Very Disney as well.
Oh yeah.
And we finally get to add Donald and Goofy to our party.
Oh yeah.
That I think is like
you're really settling into the journey now.
Yeah, like we're getting there.
We're getting there.
We also get the first mention of the Gummi Ship.
Yes, we do.
Which
you can take a ride in our Gummi Ship. What's that? You'll find out.
Crazy and so cute and so cool. And we learn how it can travel to other worlds. Take you there.
Yeah, raft wasn't gonna take you nowhere. That's a good raft. Like this is literally the raft of the century. Yeah.
We are taken to another important cutscene where we see the shadows of very familiar Disney villains watching over Sora, and we see Maleficent emerge from the shadows. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
The baddest.
The baddest of them all.
The baddest of them all. And we start to realize who might be the ones controlling the Heartless, and we get our Disney mashup fix.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty, OMG moment right there.
Definitely a big OMG moment. I think, as a kid, it excited me, which villains we were going to be dealing with.
For sure.
Hearing, Oogie Boogie and then, Captain Hook right afterwards. That got me so excited as a kid. And also just, I liked the idea that they shadow them out, but their voices are so iconic that you know who it is. You know who
they are. Yes.
And seeing Maleficent, because we do see Maleficent very, very quickly. Mm-hmm. I think right before we actually get into Traverse Town, but then we see her little hands. You already knew you were buckling into something huge.
Yeah, for sure.
Them. Oh yeah.
Think we missed anything?
Honestly, I mean, my only things, it's not really story based. I just always thought I was gonna be able to catch Donald and Goofy. I always thought I was gonna catch them. I was if I go through the hotel, then they'll definitely be there because the last time they walked through the hotel, and of course they're in the alley or there, whatever.
They keep missing each other.
I really didn't understand how game design worked. That it was set up for them to constantly miss each other. And there's that stint in the Gizmo shop where you're fighting the hordes of Heartless. I thought it never ended. So I just always ran away, even to this day. And I found out, watching, shout out to Source by 91 on YouTube. That's the guy we've been watching. Yes. That it's just 8 rounds, but it's so long. You were saying before, I don't know how many hits it's going to take to get them down. My strength is at 1. I don't know. I think it awakened an impatience in me because I don't know. And I guess I'll just say this now because we're probably not really going to get into it moving forward. Once you leave Traverse Town, you're in the Gummi Ship. And so that's when you're ready to start jumping to other worlds. The Gummi Ship Garage is available for you to go through to customize your Gummi Ship. Still don't know how to do that. No. I've watched YouTube tutorials on how. I still don't understand how this works. But something else I didn't learn until this playthrough, which I didn't care to do anyway, was that each world has apparently 3 missions attached to getting there. So when you're flying, it's almost like a mini game. If you take down X amount of things, or you dodge X amount of things, you get extra points or something.
Interesting.
I didn't know that. Doesn't have anything to do with the story.
Didn't know that either.
I just thought that was something that I was flipping through them and I was oh, I didn't know there was mini game aspects to the Gummi Ship at all.
Had no ideas.
But yeah, our heroes are ready to embark on the Gummi Ship to the next world, and that will be our next episode. That was really it for our first 3 encounters.
Yeah.
Awakening, Destiny Islands, and Traverse Town.
For sure.
Are we ready to update? Are we ready to start?
I think we're ready to start
our little storyline
Start
update.
sticking.
Obviously, for this world, or for this game, Sora is our protagonist. So he will be under the protagonist category. Starting from the very beginning, Sora, our protagonist, has a barrage of visions and dreams guided by, and you'll see, I put a big old line because we don't actually know who it is yet. So we'll mark that in once we get true confirmation. Maybe Tetsuya will reach out to us and let us know. He has a barrage of visions and dreams guided by blank 2 days before he and his friends take off to see other worlds. Our next thing is that Sora meets a mysterious hooded figure who tells him something's coming. Oh, and then for the blue dots you see, this is just marking that this is pertaining to Kingdom Hearts 1. Because again, we intend to have a whole lot. And then to finish off Destiny Islands, Sora loses his friends Riku and Kairi and his home Destiny Islands. So that is protagonist Sora's current timeline. Brittany?
For Traverse Town, he starts meeting some major characters and minor characters. And he finally teams up with Donald and Goofy and starts to adventure off to other worlds. We start to get hints that he's powerful and has some sort of power.
It's got something going on. Going into our next category, the world encountered. And that will be dealing with Awakening, Destiny Islands, and Traverse Town. So for Awakening is a purgatory/dream-like plane of existence where Sora begins his journey. And then after that is Destiny Islands. Sora, Riku, Kairi, Selphie, Waka, and Titus's home island that gets swallowed by the darkness. And then for Traverse Town, what do we got, Brittany?
A world created as a sanctuary for people who have lost their homes. Final Fantasy characters included in the mix, and we learn vaguely about what the Heartless are/want and overall info about them. That's it.
And now moving on to the universe's story. So everyone else going on. King Mickey is called to action because stars, aka worlds, are going out one by one. Our next bit is worlds like Jiminy's have been swallowed into darkness, and now so has Destiny Islands.
We start meeting important characters and enemies. Finally, team is assembled, and really an intro into gameplay, into fighting the Heartless.
Oh, yeah.
And then realizing Maleficent and other villains might be the reason
for all this.
Heartless. That's right.
And that is our very first official episode.
Yay.
This has been so much fun.
Yes.
Oh my God, we did so good. I'm so proud of us.
We did.
I love you very much, Britt.
Love you.
And thank you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Great.
See you in Wonderland.
See you in Wonderland.
See you in Wonderland, guys. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Gummi Ship Radio.
You and your power, aka your friends, can follow the show on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
To see our storyline update, stay in the know, or just to say hey, you can follow our account on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Gummi Ship Radio, or email us at gummishipradio@gmail.com.
Please rate and review our podcasts. Your support will help us immeasurably.
Our intro is arranged and theme music created by Matt Whiteford.
This podcast is hosted and produced by Victoria Harrington and Brittany Morales.
We'll be thinking of you wherever you are, and see you next time.